This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Nice strike! Oh, better than nice!
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Duri. I am your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Hope you're having a blessed day and a better day than me coming into the studio today. I'll explain that later. Coming up on today's show, we've got Formula One, tennis, a trip around the world to see what's going on in the world of sport. I also want to ask the question is, how important is it to travel in order to develop in sport? So how many of the viewers have traveled to add something to their arsenal? That's right, I use that word, to that arsenal. Now, no Ballon d'Or this year. If it was still going to be on, who would be your Ballon d'Or? That's another question which I'm looking at all the football fans to just give you a little bit of taste of that and what's coming up on this week on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
Oh, he loves the fire!
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Salam and welcome back to the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Hope you are blessed wherever you're tuned in around the world, whether it's 95 FM, Pulse95Radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, the YouTube channel, Pulse 95 Radio, or even if you're on my Instagram live. Thank you so much for tuning in out and about. Sheikha, and of course, Spicy, the regular. Now, wow, we've got a couple of things to go through today. You have to excuse me if I'm a little bit flustered. Alhamdulillah, I made it to the studio just about, and the show must go on. Right. In the world of sport, a few things have been happening. We've got to take a look around and see. With Formula One, Hamilton is on course to break Schumacher's record. Now, for those that don't really know Schumacher, what a legend. But world champion Hamilton has looked supreme in his last 2 outings. His early season form has raised, the prospect that he could match or break Michael Schumacher's record of 91 Grand Prix wins on Ferrari's home soil in Italy in September. So that tells you a lot about where Hamilton's at. Now, it's not often the person looks the part and can actually drive, and that is Hamilton all day long. And I'm so happy that he's done it, because he's been a strong ambassador in many things, not just in the Black Lives Matter, not just in the racism row, but also as a role model. Really like what he stands for, and he's now on course to do that. And he did say it feels great once you're in the zone, but I really do miss the energy they bring. There's nothing like it. I don't have a lot of years left, and that's going to be 1 year that I miss all the fans. And he was alluding to, not having the fans around, which is incredible. Being able to rise to the occasion without the fans is something that has been difficult for a lot of athletes, and Hamilton is definitely one that can do that. And speaking about champions and world number one, let's cross over to tennis for a second. Now, with tennis, world number one Djokovic returns to training after recovering from COVID-19. Now, a lot of people have been speculating about when he will return, and finally now he's back on the court training, which is key. This is the year that Wimbledon has been cancelled, or as we say, postponed, because of the coronavirus 19. However, saying that, Djokovic apologized for the same while announcing that he and his girlfriend had tested positive for the disease that's almost brought all professional sport to a standstill in most parts of the world. He has, however, been subjected to severe criticism from a number of fans, and a lot of players supported him too, with French veteran Gilles Simon criticizing the media for what he saw as unfair treatment meted out to Djokovic. Now, Djokovic hasn't always been loved the same way that our Roger Federers have been, etc. However, I do have to say, human is human, and then if he could not compete or train or get back to a regular routine, it's down to the coronavirus, and safety comes first. And we always say that here in the heart of Sharjah on Pulse 95, that we have to have the right balance, whether you're an athlete, a lawyer, or even a helper. All these things have to come into the right time, the right frame of mind, and that's so important. And Hamilton is no different, and neither is Djokovic. And that's what's been happening in the world of sport regarding the different sports that we discuss on the show, when it comes down to mindset, when it comes down to balance, and also mindfulness. And that's something now that a lot of people are having to adapt to. There are rumors that fans will be returning back to stadiums in October, which is something that, is very, very nice to hear. However, we're not there yet, so we're gonna have to be patient and take our time in embracing that as well. We all know now, more than ever in the world, that the importance of the fan when it comes down to sport is key. And now we're missing that atmosphere, that environment. Yesterday we saw a couple of matches that, had there been fans, could it have been different? Maybe, maybe not. Tennis is the same thing. And even Formula One, as Hamilton said, there's a lot of things that are missing from the game, from the sport at the moment now. But that's what's happening in the world of sport. On a roundup, but coming up next, how important is it to travel to develop in sport? You see where I'm going with this? Because what we did say is now, obviously with the restrictions, people aren't allowed to travel, experience new things, develop and learn. Fight camps are having it, footballers, all sorts of things. And slowly we're starting to find that with the UFC coming to Fight Island out here in the UAE, there is a place, there is a scope for it. But how important is it to travel to develop in sport? And is there a challenge in adapting to a different environment? That and more coming up next on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
Oh, he loves the fire, and what a goal!
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri. Right, I've reset now. I'm back on track, guys, if you were wondering what's going on. Omar is back, and I'm back with you guys. And I'm so happy to be back with you guys because, hey, listen, life's too short. Right, how important is it to develop in the world of sport when it comes to travel? Now, think about that for a second. A lot of times, regardless of any sport or even any skill set, it comes down to enhancing and developing the mind, the body, and how we think of certain scenarios. Now, I say this because with the current situation, obviously travel restrictions are there, and in so, how has it affected your performance? There's so many things that we tend to kind of find out about ourselves when we travel. The way we reset our environment, the way we are with people, the way we handle situations, all these and more fall under that umbrella. Now, when I say that because sometimes I always hear that people say, I need to get out, I need to reset, I need to change my environment. And that's why I tend to talk about the different factors and what you do learn. Most of the time, it's more about what you learn about yourself than other people. But when you do travel, if you see these camps or these retreats, there are these places that kind of set the tone for you to come out. For example, I went out to Thailand a long time ago, and I went there for a fight camp. Not that I was going to fight, but just to learn how to condition myself and fight, etc. And when I went out there, I met so many different people, but actually certain characteristics resonated with me, and certain people surprised me in the way they got to elevate me to a different level. And by saying that, there was one coach from Chicago who's, I think, ex-military, and he was working out in Tiger Muay Thai out in Thailand, and his conditioning circuits were awful, but awful in the nicest way possible. What they were doing is it was teaching me certain things I didn't know I was capable of. The brutal, approach of no nonsense was definitely all about this person and this coach, and he was a very, very good coach. His name was Coach Randy, and he taught me a lot about myself. But my whole point is I went out to Thailand to be able to train and just close off from everything that's happening on this side of the world. However, when I tend to think about it, it's getting yourself in that right mindset that enables you to execute your goals rather than going to a destination. And that's why I ask, how important is it to travel? Because it takes a lot out of you to travel, to settle down, to adjust to certain things. And it's not only that, it comes down to, the challenge to adapt to what may come of it. For example, you've got a lot of, if we look at athletes, we got a lot of athletes, let's say the English athletes who travel to Germany. And they travel to Germany because Germany have quite a good structure there. For example, Jude Bellingham, who's going to Dortmund. He's having a medical in Dortmund at the moment now. He is one of the up-and-coming prospects. And he's going to be, I think, the most expensive 16-year-old or 17-year-old to sign for a club. Now, why do you have to go to Germany to develop? That means that there is a certain type of structure that works not just for English athletes, but athletes in general. So why do we find ourselves traveling in order for us to actually learn more? Can we not do that in our own space? Or are we crowded by work commitments, family commitments, and all sorts of responsibilities that we have in our zone? So that's something for you to think about. How many of the viewers and listeners on YouTube, Pulse 95 Radio, on Instagram Live at Omar Al Duri, how many of you have traveled to add something to your arsenal? And if so, what is that? Text us on 4215 Ittasalat Urdu, or slide into my DMs at Omar Al Duri Instagram and let me know, because I don't think this just is relating to sport. I think this is relating to performance, and I think we perform every single day, be it at work, be it in the gym, be it, with friends on a court, or on a football pitch, or on a tennis court, or anything. All these things come from us. So what is it that it requires for you to reset your environment to get the best out of yourself? 4215 Ittasalat Urdu, that's what I want to know. And also, can we not do that in our own space? So for example, let's say you've got a balcony, or you have a garden, or you have even a small room, which once you enter that room, you're able to channel your thoughts and you're able to focus on what you need to do. That is really, really interesting in the sense of how we detach from the outside disturbances, let's say. For example, the phone, the mobile, don't allow it in that room, don't allow it in that balcony, but just for you to be able to get your recollection of what's happening. That's my question for you today. Very, very interesting topic. I want to hear from you guys. I've got a few people who are tuned in. 94 MS. I've got Adil, I've got Spicy, obviously. Fahad is here. We've got Lian, Debo from the US, and Adil from New York, my guy. All these people, Fahad, Abu Dhabi as well, and Muhammad, Zulfia, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, you can catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday on Pulse 95 Radio, the halftime show. Plenty of stuff coming up. And coming up next, now, no Ballon d'Or this year. Why? Hold that thought. All this and more on the only place to be at 3, the halftime show of Pulse 95.
Oh, he lifts the fire, and what a goal!
This is the halftime show with Omar Al Duri on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the halftime show with Omar Al Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport. International, local. When I say international, you know what makes the show international? I'll tell you what makes the show international. It's because the people who are viewing and listening on YouTube, on Instagram Live, and listening in the radio as well on Pulse95Radio.com, it's so nice when you got Adil all the way from New York at 7 a.m. tuned into the show. Then you've got Florin all the way from New York as well. You got Debo from Chicago. You got Brown Dude from London. You got all these people who are tuned in. Fatima Al Duri from the UAE. I gotta give my mom a shout out. She's my number one fan, probably my only fan, but still my number one fan. All these people who are tuned in to support the halftime show. And one of the things we like here is we like your feedback. And I was telling the guys during the break is that normally, if I'm in groups, I don't really answer questions like, the WhatsApp groups and the social groups. I don't really ask questions if I'm going to be talking about a topic the next day. And one of the topics that's been on conversation in the last week is, as we all know, the Ballon d'Or has been cancelled. And normally, for the last 10 years, it's been between two people, Messi and Ronaldo. And it kind of gets boring when one of the two are winning, because it doesn't really give a chance for anyone else because of the gulf in, let's say, the remarkable results and remarkable achievements and stats and everything that's been going on. It's very hard to be able to say that one of those two don't deserve it. This is the first year you could have probably said someone else deserves it. And FIFA haven't always been, by the book, let's say. So the fact that the Ballon d'Or has been cancelled, what I want to ask you guys is, who, in your opinion, deserved the Ballon d'Or this year? The league wasn't cancelled. La Liga is still going on. Serie A is still going on. The Premier League is still going on. Could we have seen a different winner? I'm throwing it out there. I'm throwing it out there. It's different to say that normally every year when Messi and Ronaldo do get it, we kind of say, yeah, fair enough. This is the first year with Barcelona having their problems that you could have said Messi wouldn't have won it. And if so, who would be in the front line? Shout out to Ashraf all the way from London as well. See, when I told you, the only reason why this show is international is because you got Ashraf there, you got Florin in New York, you got Adil in New York, you got Debo in Chicago. All these people tuned in. Florin is saying it would be Ronaldo, hands down. You've got Brown Dude saying Mane. I like that. But here's a couple of names for you guys. What about Robert Lewandowski? Robert Lewandowski has been consistent for years. One of the best number 9s out there. They win the league every single year. They don't win the Champions League, but they win the league every single year. His name isn't mentioned. Sergio Ramos. That's another one. Captain Fantastic. Scores the penalties. Keeps the team together. Never bats an eyelid. Sorry, Debo from Florida. My bad. I appreciate you, Debo. So yeah, I'm looking at all these people and I'm thinking, why? Why haven't we got, someone else who's going to be crowned? Mane in the UK. Ramos. Karim Benzema. You got to give love to Karim Benzema. That's another one. Again, been consistent, overlooked by the superstars around him, and yet has been so good this year. Who would be your Ballon d'Or this year? 4215, hit us a lot or do, or slide into the DMs as Flo is doing now and saying Ramos' attitude won't let him be great. Ramos' attitude compared to the other people might not let him be great. However, he himself has been a star, and I'm sure his teammates will love him. And that's why that there's no room for complacency with characters like that. Flo, you've been in teams, in college at a high level, and you've seen the characters in that dressing room. Sometimes you need one or two that are going to put things straight, and that's why I'm asking that question to everyone today. Who would be your Ballon d'Or in 2019-2020 season? Massive question, because it was announced there wouldn't be, and also the fact that, there is this, let's say, controversy that, Messi's won a record-breaking 6 Ballon d'Or last year. The Women's Ballon d'Or also got cancelled this year as well. Why? Why are they cancelled when there's still games going on? I don't know. I think this could have been a year where we would have had maybe, I dare say it, a different Ballon d'Or winner. But I want to hear from you. Coming up next, we take all your questions, your answers, and we look forward to what's coming up this week on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
Oh, he loves the fire, then what a goal!
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Duri. I am your host, covering everything sport, international, local. Shout out to everyone who's tuned in. Thank you so much for all the love that we're getting shown on YouTube, Pulse 95 Radio, Instagram at Omar Duri, Pulse95radio.com, and even 95 FM. Thank you guys for everything. I appreciate that. Now today, if you're just tuning in, where the hell have you been? I'm here. Where are you? What you doing? I know who's tuned in from Florida, New York, UK, and everyone else who is showing love on the Halftime Show. The question of the day was, how important is it to travel to develop in sport? And how many of the viewers have traveled to add something different to their arsenal? That's right, I use that word, arsenal. Is there a challenge in adapting to a different environment? These are all under the umbrella of how important is travel. Now, due to the regulations at the moment now and the restrictions, that we are having to face, it's kind of hindered a little bit of that experience. Fans are being appreciated more in sport, and also at the same time, our own learning blocks and developments have been put on hold. So that was what I was asking earlier. I was also talking about Formula One racing, with Hamilton's on course to break Schumacher's record. Djokovic returns back following recovering from COVID-19. And that's what I'm saying, you missed a lot. Who is the deserved Ballon d'Or winner for this year? The Ballon d'Or was cancelled. However, was it an opportunity for a first time in a decade to have someone rather than Messi or Ronaldo win it? Those were my questions for the day, and I'm getting a few people in. I've had Rawan from the UK as well say it should be Lewandowski. I've had Brown Dude, and I've had who was it as well? Adil, I think, that said Mane's up there. Hey, listen, these are all good shouts at the moment. And I'll tell you one thing. I think for me, I'd probably like a defender to win it. Sorry, guys, and I am biased, but I would have liked a defender to win it. There is a lot of people that would have probably said not Ramos because of his attitude, but you know what? For those people who have been in a dressing room in different sports with certain characters, if you look to your left and you got Ramos there, or that kind of leadership, that you can't really afford to be complacent or slack. And that's exactly why I would have probably picked him. We've got Asma who's saying Messi. Again, that's a very favorable choice with his stats this year. You've got Ronaldo in Italy, who's still doing it, the only one to score 50 goals in every single league. Whenever I think of Ronaldo, I think of Messi. Whenever I think of Messi, I think of Ronaldo. You know, those are all the type of players. You have got superstar players and everywhere. Kevin De Bruyne, I haven't heard anyone mention him so far. Kevin De Bruyne, one of the best, if not the best midfielder on the planet. Hey, that's there for you to have a look at. So many people. Van Dijk, obviously up to them winning the league, has been outstanding. Goalkeepers, why can't a goalkeeper win it? You know, there you go, Brown dude. See, I said Van Dijk and you said what about Virgil? Ashraf, I know you be talking about goalkeepers. Why isn't a goalkeeper winning it? What about Alisson? What about those type of players? Whoever wins the Champions League, there'll be another one. Jawu 17, Bruno Fernandes or Koulibaly. These are all good suggestions. And guys, we are reaching full time. That's it, you heard the whistle. And it is a beauty, and that's why I'm going to say... I love Andy Gray. That's why I'm going to say, guys, you can catch us every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 3 to 4 UAE time on Pulse 95 Radio in the heart of Sharjah. And also, if you do miss the show, guys, the next day, the YouTube channel, Pulse 95 Radio, has the whole show uncut like you like it. Now, that's what I'm going to be talking about. And Ashraf does agree with me. Goalkeepers will never get the plaudits. Hey, Ashraf, on here, I give goalkeepers a lot of love. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. That's full time on the halftime show. Love you guys. Hope you have a blessed day. Stay safe. And I'll see you very, very soon. Peace.
The heart of Sharjah. The heart. The heart of Sharjah. Pulse 95.